All right, everyone. Welcome to Inclusive Rec Services. Today, we have the opportunity to work with Paul Weiland, Interim Program Director at Oak Hill Adapted Sport and Fitness, to participate in our first simulation lab of this semester. As we learned last week, simulation labs are crucial to being able to understand others' perspectives. I like the analogy, you can't walk a mile in someone else's shoes until you put them on. And so today we have an opportunity to wear somebody else's shoes for a little while and experience working out, which at Springfield College, a lot of us are physically active, both physically and mentally fit. And we have an opportunity to experience physical fitness in a little bit of a different lens. So with that, I would love to hand the mic over to Paul, and he's going to explain what we're going to do today. Feel free to pin Paul. If you pin Paul on your Zoom, he'll be nice and big, and you'll be able to follow along a little better.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Keyworth, for that awesome introduction. My name is Paul Weiland. I am the Interim Director and Adaptive Sports Program Coordinator here at Oak Hill Adaptive Sports and Fitness in Hartford, Connecticut. And we are a sports, fitness, and community center open to the public, but especially designed to work with individuals with special needs, active older adults, and veterans. What I like to tell people is think YMCA, but we've gone the extra mile in accessibility. So all our programs and services are available to anybody, but again, especially designed for individuals with special needs. So for example, if you were to walk into our weight room, you would see a chest press, a lat pull down machine, and everything else that you would see anywhere else, but the added adaptation with a simple move of a seat. Someone who is a full-time chair user, for example, can use the same piece of equipment without having to transfer from their chair. So the whole concept of everything we do is full inclusion, whether that's the sports programs where I host Connecticut's first women's wheelchair basketball team, a goalball team, which is visually impaired soccer, or all our fitness classes are also completely inclusive for all ability levels and all function levels. And that's kind of what you're going to experience today. You're going to get a sample of what's called our Sit Fit class. And Sit Fit is a full body workout from a seated position that can be adapted to all physical ability and function levels. We're going to do it a little bit differently than a normal class, though. We're going to go through about a little over a fourth of the class, and you're going to take the class as yourself with your ability levels as is. And then at about the halfway point of the presentation, I'm going to give you a chance to catch a breather, and then you are going to take the second half of the class with a self-assigned disability. And by that, I mean you're going to get the opportunity to either choose to put a blindfold on or just close your eyes tight to simulate visual impairment, slide one arm down your sleeve to simulate an arm amputation, or sit on or pin one leg behind your chair to simulate lower limb loss. And then we're going to repeat the same protocols. And at the end, we're going to talk about similarities and differences, both from your experience, but then also in the different ways in which I have taught the class to help promote you being successful with those different disabilities. Does that make sense? Is there any big questions at this time? Going once, going twice, sold. All right, so just give me a second to get back to my other chair and set up my camera correctly. Like Professor Keyworth said, if you have your lightweight items and then something to put in your hands, that would be great. And I'll let you get set while I get set. Ready. Fantastic. So this is just basic, follow the leader and get up and go. So we're going to start sitting up nice and tall in our chair and just start with a march and punch. With every punch, there should be a step. With every step, there should be a punch. Challenge yourself to push out hard and pull back even with your chest. Good. Quick feet, quick hands. Hit with power. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest your feet. Now punch across. Rest right fist over left shoulder, left fist over right shoulder. Good, punch it out. Hit hard. Twist. Good. And rest. Now we're going to pick up one weight, hold it on each end, and we're going to chop from top to bottom, wood choppers over your head and down to the ground. Good. Bring it up hard, chop down low. Breathe out as you get to the top. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now we're going to grab one weight in each hand. And we're going to start with a curl and press. Curl it up, press it up. Good. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, every time you press up, try to kick that leg out even with the hip, switching legs each time. Good. It's your workout, not mine, so go at your speed, your tempo. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Set down one weight. You're going to hold it out in front of you again. And big circles all the way around. Good. Get low. Get wide. And then high. Get ready to switch directions. And switch. Three, 2, and 1. Rest. All right, we're going to set that down. And now if you have something like a resistance band or even a t-shirt, something to roll up and put in between your hands, that would be great. If you don't have that available, you can literally just hold your hands straight out in front of you and pretend. But we're going to start doing kayaks or canoes. You're going to pretend like you're rowing a boat all the way down and back, fast as you can. Quick, quick, quick. Push as much water with each stroke as you can. Go, go, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Rest. Now sit up nice and tall. Bring that right to your chest. Elbows behind you like you're holding a barbell on your chest. Push out. Bring it back in. Push up. Over the head. Push out. And repeat. Quick as you can. Nice job. Make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath, especially those of you that are masked. Make sure we're breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. All right, now we're going to do some tricep kickbacks. So you can use one hand, lean over, bring that elbow up high, even with your shoulder, kick straight back.
You're all doing awesome. Looks really good.
Way to go, team. Way to push yourself. Get ready to switch hands in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch hands, bring it up, kick it back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can set that down. And we're going to finish with what I call fast feet, fast hands. You're going to run your feet as fast as you can, and you're going to do a speed bag, wrist over wrist, right in front. All right, fast feet, fast hands in front. Ready, set, go. Quick hands, quick feet, let's go. Keep those feet going, twist to your left. Back to center. Twist to your right. I'm going opposite of you so it looks right. Back to center. All the way up over your head. Back to center. Rest your feet and finish with punches out in front. 10, 9, hit with power. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, interlock your fingers. Press your palms to the sky. Reach up high. Good. Take those same hands, push away from your chest. Good. And then slowly go down and say hi to your toes. Crawl them out in front as far as you can reach if you can. Then slowly come back up to a seated position. Sit up nice and tall. Roll those shoulders back. Put your arms out to the side in nice, easy arm circles. Switch directions. And rest. All right. While you take a second to catch your breath, I'm going to remind you of a few things. You have 3 options that'll be easy for you to do in this situation. Number 1, you can choose just to close your eyes tight and challenge yourself to really keep that there to experience what it may feel like at some level to have a visual impairment. You can slide one arm down your sleeve, which is a really good way to experience upper body limb loss. And then finally, for lower body limb loss, you can either hook one leg behind your chair, or if you're more flexible than me, you can actually sit on one lower leg, sit on your haunches, so to speak. So I'll give you about a minute to decide. While you're deciding, if you are going to be an individual with a visual impairment, the first thing I would do when a person of that nature came into class, I would make sure that all their equipment is set up properly for them, so they would know exactly where their weights are in proximity to the chair, depending on how far away they prefer them to be. And then if they have the pool noodle or the t-shirt, that is usually on their strong dominant side. So if you're choosing to use that adaptation, make sure you set your equipment accordingly and acclimate yourself just before closing your eyes. I'll give everybody about 1 more minute to make the decision and get set. For those of you that have your cameras on, can you give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go? Good, good, good. All right. I think we are about ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is the beginning of class, and we're going to get up and get going. It's going to be a follow the leader, and I'll be giving specific instructions as we go. We're going to start with a march and punch. So you're going to pick your knees up as high as you can, trying to get your knees up even with your hips, and you're going to punch straight out in front of you, arms out hard, reaching straight out in front of your chest, pulling back so that your elbows come back even with your chest. Punch hard, pull back hard, get those knees up as high as you can, as quick as you can. With every punch, there should be a step. With every step, there should be a punch. Same leg, same arm. Keep going. Push hard, punch hard. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest. Now we're going to start with some cross punches. You're going to punch right fist over left shoulder, then punch your left fist over your right shoulder, twisting at the hip all the way up through the shoulder as you punch. Punch and twist. Again, right fist over left shoulder, left fist over right shoulder. Punch it out. Good. And if you're experiencing upper body limb loss, make sure that even though we don't have that one limb, we're still giving that side as much rotation as the other. Keep going. Punch it across. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you're going to reach down to the side of your chair and pick up one weight. You're going to hold that weight straight out directly in front of your chest with both hands on it if you can. Bend down at the waist and make large circles with the weight, extending over one side as far as you can, over your head, and then the other side as far as you can. Making circles as wide as you can make them. Keep going. Down and around. Get ready to switch directions on your circle. Same motion, opposite direction. In 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and switch directions on your circle. Good. Fantastic. Down and around. As big a circles as you can make. As low as you can go, as wide to the side, and as high as you can overhead. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now I'm going to switch it up on you, and we're going to chop overhead to down. So you're going to raise up over your head and chop down to the floor. Just like you're driving an axe into a piece of wood, raise up and chop down. 5, 4, 3, chop with power. Every time it comes up overhead, breathe out. Breathe in as you're going down. And rest. Good. We're going to set that down. Okay, actually, I apologize. We're going to pick up both weights. I skipped a step. We're going to pick up both weights, and we're going to start with a curl and press. So our elbows are going to go tight to our rib cage. We're going to curl up at the elbow till the weights are up by our shoulders with our palms to the inside, and then bring it down. Curl it up and press it up. Bring it down to our shoulders and extend it down. So again, curl it up to your shoulders, turn your hands out and press up. Bring it down to our shoulders, turn the hands back in and curl down. Curl and press. Good. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, we're going to curl and press with a leg kick. So every time you extend the weights over your shoulder, I want you to try to kick one leg at a time straight out in front of you so that the foot comes up even with your hip and the leg is straight. You're going to alternate legs each time you press over your shoulders. Very nice. You go at your speed. It's your workout, not mine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. We can set those down. And now we're going to pick up our pool noodle or our rolled up t-shirt, our resistance band, whatever we have with us. You're going to hold one end in each hand so that the hands are about shoulder width apart. Then you're going to reach that item straight out in front of your chest so that your arms are even with your shoulders and straight out. And then we're going to do a chest press to a shoulder press. So with it extended, you're going to pull it back to your chest like a barbell, push it out, pull it back in, and then press it up overhead and repeat that motion. Chest press, shoulder press. Push it out in front of your chest, bring it back to your chest, and then push overhead. As many times as you can, as fast as you can. Overhead, back down to your chest, out in front, back to your chest, then overhead again. Repeating that chest press to shoulder press motion. Fast as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Take a second to breathe. Sit up nice and tall. Make sure those shoulders are raised back. Now put that same item straight in front of your chest again. And we're going to pretend this time that it's a kayak paddle. And we're going to row the canoe, extending the paddle over your left shoulder, pulling it down and back to your right hip, and then over your right shoulder down to your left hip. Moving water on both sides of the boat as fast as you can, as much water as you can. Up and down and back with each pull of the paddle. Fast as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest. All right, you can set that down. And we're going to pick up one weight. And again, we're going to start just like before with the weight straight out in front of our chest. And we're going to hang that weight over our right shoulder down to our left hip. Then lift it over our left shoulder down to our right hip, making a giant X. These are called X chops in front of our body. 5, 4, 3, giant X's down and across. 2, and 1. Nice job. Set it down. Now we're going to finish with what I call fast feet, fast hands. If you can, you're going to run your feet as fast as you can, staying on your toes, picking those feet up and getting those knees up. Our hands are going to do a speed bag motion, wrist over wrist in front of our chest, as fast as they can go. Fast feet, fast hands. Ready, go. We're spinning those hands wrist over wrist like we're punching a punching bag in front. We're picking our feet up and down as fast as we can run. Now we're going to twist to our left. Back to center. Keep those feet going. Keep those arms moving. Twist to your right. Back to center. Still running those feet. Bring it up over your head as high as you can reach. Now back down to center. Now rest those feet and punch out in front. Punch hard. Twist through the shoulder and the hip into each punch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right. Very good job. Let's stretch and then we'll have a conversation. So sit up nice and tall. And if you can, interlock your fingers and press your palms to the sky. Or you can just reach your arms straight up and tickle the clouds. See how far you can reach. Tickle those clouds. Press the palms to the sky. Now take those same hands and reach out in front. If you're pressing your palms out in front, really think about pushing those palms. Otherwise, pretend there's a piano straight out in front of you and play that piano as far away as you can. Good. Now we're going to start with our hands on our lap. Put our legs straight out in front of us, our heels into the ground and our toes up, and slowly go down to our toes. Good. And rest. Slowly come back up to a fully seated position. Bring those feet underneath you so your knees are at 90 degrees. Your chest is out, and then slowly bring those arms up so they're stretched out even with our shoulders, and make small arm circles going forward. Spinning your arms and shoulders forward. Good. Get ready to switch directions and spin the circles the opposite way in 3, 2, 1. Spin backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job, everybody. Really good work. Please allow me a second to move up to my camera so we can have a conversation.
Thanks so much, Paul. You all did incredible. Be thinking of some questions for Paul and myself, and be ready to participate in this discussion. I appreciate all your effort today so far.
All right. Well, first of all, and I know some people are still adjusting after a decent workout, so don't feel rushed by any means. But give me a thumbs up or a raise of hands. Who thought that was more difficult than they expected? Okay. Who was surprised at the fact, and you have every right to be honest with me, who was surprised at the fact that they actually got a good sweat from a seated workout? Okay, that's, and I love, we even have technology going. I got people throwing up the laughing emoji and fingers. I love all of this. This is great. You guys are talented. I love it. So before we go any further, I do want to dive in a little bit more to my background so you understand exactly where I'm coming from. On top of being the interim director and adaptive sports program coordinator at Oak Hill Adaptive Sports and Fitness, I am also a licensed K-12 PE and 512 health physical educator. I spent several years teaching middle school special ed, and I'm also a licensed and certified personal trainer and group X instructor. I was born 3 months premature with a disability called cerebral palsy, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a neuromuscular disorder that, in simple terms, my muscles don't react with my brain the normal way. So even as I'm sitting here doing nothing, talking to you, my muscles are contracting at a very minute level, which causes them to always be fatigued and very tight and tense. That's why I have a little bit of a hitch in my giddy up. And I also have what's called two lazy eyes. So as a result, I don't have any depth perception. I have some visual impairments. So if you're raising your hand or that sort of thing and I don't see it right away, please bear with me. But Professor Keyworth will help with that as well. But that's kind of my background. I have got the opportunity to play and coach wheelchair basketball and several other adaptive sports, but specifically to wheelchair basketball, I've been playing for 20 years and I've coached at the college, high school, and Paralympic level. So that being said, I kind of have a unique vantage point in this area, and I'm really excited to get to know how you guys perceived that part of the program. There's three things I want to cover. First of all, I want to cover similarities and differences from when we did it, kind of as yourself, and then as the person with a disability. Then I want to talk about kind of how you perceive the workout from a structural standpoint and the differences in my teaching strategies then when we did it one way versus the other. And then I want to have a conversation about, after experiencing this, what you think your role is in providing inclusive fitness and inclusive recreation programming, and how something like this will affect how you go about your jobs later in life. So I realize that's a lot, but we'll get through it step by step. To do that, let's just take some open feedback on what you took away from the experience and kind of how you felt as an individual taking the course. Don't be shy, because I know you're not.
I liked how both exercises, when having it as ourselves and having it with an impairment, were very similar. So it didn't feel like it was different, but it felt it was different for me. I did the one without one of my limbs, one of my arms, and I had to remember not to lean on my elbow because that's not going to be there if I had that impairment. And then how tired my arm got the second time around compared to the first time, where it felt to me as a good workout, but not like strenuous.
Right, because as soon as your body has to constantly compensate for that limb loss, the fatigue becomes that more impactful, correct? And the other thing, I am glad that you noticed the similarities and a little bit of the differences. Both of those were incredibly intentional because, like I mentioned at the start, the whole idea is full inclusion. So whether someone walks in as a completely able-bodied athlete, or someone comes in with the most profound disability, I can adjust the class to meet the needs of everybody in it. So it is supposed to seem similar. And I did, as a purpose for this module, I did intentionally change a couple exercises here and there, because if you're going to truly experience it as an individual with a disability, they're not going to know what's coming next. That's the whole design of the class, is to follow along and take by example. So if I did the exact same protocol, it would not be a true experience. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Very good points. Anybody else have some takeaways that they're willing to share?
Yeah, I just thought it was really important, kind of going off what Sharon was saying about basically seeing the different sides of perspective there, right? I think that, we had a great opportunity to understand, and, I think everybody in this class is very fortunate to have their limbs, and but when you don't have it, it's really interesting and crazy to say, like, wow, like, this is something so different that I take for granted every single day, right? And I think that's something that I do, and it was a great workout as well. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, that's a great observation and great input. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Let me ask you this, sir, and I'm sorry I can't read your name, but which disability did you choose to acclimate yourself with?
I chose the missing of a limb in the arm, upper body.
Okay, and so now I'm going to dive a little bit into a little bit of biomechanics and just how I structured the course. So when you were assimilating that disability, what happened to your center of gravity?
You fall off a little bit.
Yeah, because anytime you remove a limb, so since it was upper arm for you, the center of gravity actually drops and then goes away from where that loss is. So every time you're making a movement, your body has to compensate for that limb loss. You're using other muscles and other compensations that you normally wouldn't. So let's dive into that a little bit further. What things did people notice in my teaching style and how I delivered the second half of the program that may help with some of that? Come on, pretend we're in the student union. You're not shy.
You were very encouraging, and like you took the steps like a little tiny bit slower, not noticeably, but a little tiny bit, like, okay, gather your weights. And then you kind of had a pause, I think, unless it's in my head, but I felt like that you had a little bit of a like a slower voice, but not noticeable either.
Yep. So again,
sorry, Paul, I just want to ask a leading question to see if anybody noticed what I always notice about your instruction. So, workout number one, we're all with as our bodies, as we showed up today, right? We're working out as we showed up today. Workout number two, everybody took something away from themselves, okay? So did you notice a strategy that Paul used in explaining the workouts that was different than the first strategy? It was so natural. It feels so natural that you might have missed it, but I'm wondering, there was a way he was describing things that was different or more enhanced than the first time around.
Was it like where you center your body?
He definitely used more directional terminology. Absolutely. Molly, I see you reaching for your computer. Do you have a guess?
I haven't really formulated a thought. I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry I called you out. I saw the initial. He used analogy, right? So we were tickling clouds and we were playing a piano, right? And so for those of us that our eyes were closed, right, we can visualize what that looks like in our heads, and we can mimic that movement without having to see him do it. Paul, am I right that was intentional?
Yeah, the whole idea, 100%. The other examples of that exact strategy would be the idea of the canoe and pulling water on both sides of the boat, different things like that to give visual spatial representation, right?
Exactly.
Because the first thing that goes when you lose some kind of sense is the whole idea of proprioception. to go back to the other students' thought, there is, in that class, in that part of the class, literally everybody in the class at that point has some type of physical disparity that causes them to need an extra second, possibly. Maybe they won't. Maybe they've been with their limb loss so long that it's quick and it's easy, but you guys were new to your injury. So I am going to give a brief pause, but I'm not going to do it in a way that's noticeable. I'm going to do it within rhythm. The other thing that I hope you noticed is that I was not only encouraging, but I stressed the point of it being your workout and not mine, because one of the things that people do naturally is to try to keep up and keep pace. And, being the people that you are, you're obviously competitive individuals, or else you wouldn't be in this field, right? So you're always, and I wanted to stress that even more. I think I said it in the first stanza, but I repeated it more in the second, just for that reason. And then the other thing is just being overly descriptive, not only for the people with the visual impairments, but anytime you have limb loss or anything like that, again, they're trying to create those extra movements or compensate for whatever it is they're missing, quote unquote. So by giving them extra cues, it's going to allow them to figure out how to adapt, how to overcome, and it gives them that extra thought to maybe think of it in a way that they hadn't thought before. And so that was another strategy that was pretty clear. So with all that being said, this is where I think the meat and potatoes of this whole project comes out. How do you think you can use what we've talked about today and implement it into your fields of study once you graduate?
Maybe just recognizing that each person is individual and their struggles are individual, but we can do it as a group to like include them by the way we speak and how we describe things. Mm-hmm. Like playing the piano as an exercise, it helps with like all the cognitive struggles as well as the visual struggles, like knowing, okay, this is how I move my fingers.
Right.
Absolutely. Really good.
Right. And that brings up another term that I really wanted to hit on today, and that's the idea of universal design, right? What those cues, those extra words not only helped the individual with the visual impairment, but it helped the people with the limb loss. And if you were taking the course just as yourself, those extra cues and those extra words of encouragement helps everybody. So it speaks to the whole idea of universal design, that if we develop a culture and develop a structure where it helps one person, it's going to help everyone. Mm-hmm. The best example I can give of this is actually, it's a cartoon that I've seen 100 different ways, but essentially there's a bunch of school children standing out in front of a school, and there's snow everywhere, and the little girl in the wheelchair is sitting at the end of the wheelchair ramp, and the janitor is shoveling snow as fast as he can off the steps because there's 30 students waiting to walk up the steps. And the little girl asks the janitor, "Can you move the snow off my ramp?" And he goes, "Don't you see all these people waiting to get in? I have to let them in first and then I'll help you." And the little girl looks at him and goes, "But if you remove the snow off my ramp, everybody can go in." And it's a really cute way of thinking about it. If we make these adaptations and ADA accommodations, it not only helps the individuals that it's designed for, quote unquote, but it's going to improve the experience for everyone, inclusive.
Absolutely. Paul, you couldn't have hit the nail better. In our progression of class right now, we just talked about the Americans with Disabilities Act, where we're talking about sensitive terminology, the importance of simulating experiences, and we're moving into discussing universal design and leisure education. And so this was a pivotal simulation lab for us to experience it first and talk about it second, right? And so now we're going to have this experience to resort back to in class conversation. But I also think that the way Paul designed the workout today the way he changed his language, the way he adapted the exercises in general, I hope you see that small things make a big difference. When we're talking about adaptability and accessibility, those words can feel very big and heavy and scary, right? But looking at something from a different perspective for just a moment can give you a small piece of the answer that allows a whole wide variety of individuals to be included in your programming, right? So sometimes the change isn't grand. It could be very small, a simple word, an extra pause, right? Changing your positioning in a room. But adaptability and accessibility doesn't have to be scary. It's an opportunity for us as professionals to be creative, to flex those muscles, to utilize other professionals. Paul and I talk all throughout the year. Him and I think, are sources of each other's inspiration sometimes and motivation when we're in a creative slump. And I think it's an important aside to say that as you go into your field, as you go into your career, the teams you're a part of are going to be imperative to the quality of your programming, right? And if you can think small for the big changes, right? I think that's going to be an awesome thinking tool for you as you develop inclusive recreation services on your own as successful professionals.
I couldn't agree anymore. I'm going to piggyback off of two things in what you just said. Number one, the smallest changes make the biggest impact. That's exactly why we do something like this. When I work specifically with adaptive physical education teachers, for example, I make a key point of saying, we all want to go out and buy the new best equipment, and we all want to buy this great adaptive equipment. What did we use for class today? You had t-shirts and soup cans. Some of you had water bottles. I've done this class before where a person was using remote controls. And it all depends on how you push yourself and how you use the equipment. You can use the most simple things to have, again, the most profound effect. We don't need a lot. We just need to do it well. You don't need to do everything. Just be good at what you do. That's one key there. And then Professor Keyworth hit on another huge point that is a pivotal part of everything I believe in, both as a professional and a human, of how much team builds into everything we do, right? I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, but most importantly, I'm an athlete, and team and connecting yourself to the other professionals around you builds you up and provides you with the strength and the fortitude to be the best professional and the best person you can. So to that end, I'm going to leave you with one thought before I open it up to instruction. So as I mentioned, I was born 3 months premature with a disability called cerebral palsy. I didn't learn to walk until I was 5. I've had 24 reconstructive surgeries. I used everything from a walker to every form of braces and crutches known to man. And after those surgeries, I ended up playing 4 years of high school football and thought I was going to walk on to the college football team because my uncle played football there and was part of the Hall of Fame. While I was waiting around for freshman football tryouts, I found out by accident by the captains of the wheelchair basketball team literally cornering me in a hallway that I happened to be at one of the 9 universities in the country at the time that had a collegiate wheelchair basketball team. Those gentlemen cornered me in a hallway and convinced me to try wheelchair basketball. As they did, I fell in love and I became a 5-year letter winner and a 4-year captain. I've now coached again, like I said, at the high school, college, and Paralympic level. And I've been all over the country coaching wheelchair basketball. The crazy thing is I didn't find out until I became a head coach and started running my own summer camps that there was a high school wheelchair basketball team 30 minutes from where I grew up in the same town where I did all my physical therapy, the majority of my surgeries, all my, just everything to do with my disability was provided to me in that town, except not a single professional doctor, brace person, occupational therapist, anyone told me anything about adaptive sports and recreation. And I didn't find out until I was an 18-year-old freshman in college. Now, I'm not saying that I had the opportunity earlier in life that I would be playing at the Olympic level like some of my best friends. but I do know that I would have had the opportunity to play high school basketball with individuals that I ended up playing college basketball with. And think about just in the idea of growth and development, how much better I would be as an athlete had I had that opportunity. The other thing to keep in mind, and I'll be fully honest, is I don't know, had I been given the opportunity as a freshman in high school or younger, would I have taken it, because I was so strongly set in my competitive mindset that I was going to be a football player. Would I have taken it? I don't know. But the pure fact that I was never given the opportunity, how much better or how much life experience was I not given because nobody told me? So when we think of team and building ourselves with the people around us, when you do get into the field, wherever the world takes you, make sure you do your due diligence to see what's available in our area. We all have the idea that we need to be the experts. Well, actually, you just need to be the expert in what you are good at and have the ability to find the resources to help the people you work with find what works for them. And if you take nothing away from anything that we've talked about today, take that point home, because if you can provide people opportunity, you've already accomplished 90% of your profession's goal.
I appreciate you sharing that, Paul. I was hoping that was going to come up in this conversation. Paul's not the only person that has been their experience with, exposure to adaptive recreation. And I agree, if you take nothing away from this class, but the fact that you need to understand the environment you're working in, the community you're working in, and build those teams of like-minded professionals so that the people you're working with have the best shot of a healthy leisure lifestyle, a competitive leisure lifestyle, if that's what they choose. That is 90% of the work. That is the awesomeness of this field, is allowing people access and opportunities to thrive in a recreational setting. Paul, thank you so much for being here. If you all have questions, we could stick around. I know this is the end of class. If you have specific questions or comments for Paul, please feel free to stick around for a couple minutes. Other than that, I know some of you have to leave. So get to class on time. Appreciate all of your effort today, and reach out if you have any questions. But Paul, thank you so much.
Yes, and feel free to share my contact information, especially those that do have to leave. I am always a resource. I would welcome any questions. I appreciate your time, and I apologize for being slightly long-winded.
No, it's worth it. Great. Thank you, everyone. If you have questions, don't be shy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I have just a short question.
Sure.
Because now I'm still staying in China, people didn't spend a lot of attention on the disabled people. I really hope because compared to United States, people already spend much more attention on the disabled people. So I want to throw my personal power, my personal impact to get people to pay much more attention on disabled people. Do you have any